This lesson is on deafness and blindness. We would talk about deafness connected with other disabilities. We'll also talk about intersections of deafness and blindness, and also a little bit about a movie that I would like to recommend, The Miracle Worker. This PowerPoint is in black and white, meaning white letters on black background, since it presents one of the best reading environments for people with low vision. Not 100% of people are deaf and 100% blind. That's a common misconception because the majority of people have combinations. So they might be deaf and might have low vision. They might be blind and be hard of hearing, or they might be hard of hearing and have low vision. A very low percentage of people are completely deaf and completely blind. Very, very low. So there is also included a chart that gives you the percentage of people who are deaf and how many of them have low vision. It's just 0.6%. Legally blind is just 0.01%. About 5% of people who are deaf have a learning disability. About 1% have mental disability. About 5% have ADHD, and about 1% have emotional disturbance. Here's a painting that I like by Ascender, and it's titled Blind, Deaf, and Dumb. As you know, deaf and dumb was the term used for deaf people in the past because dumb meaning they could not talk, and then it was later used as pejorative, deaf and dumb meaning stupid. Here's a famous quote by Helen Keller. Helen Keller was a person who was deaf and blind since she was born. And she said, or signed, or wrote later, blindness cuts one off from things, deafness cuts one off from people. So thinking about that, deafness is worse because it really cuts you off from people and from communication. You might not be able to see, but when you are not able to talk with people, it is much worse. A deaf-blind person said, 95% of what we learn about ourselves and the world around us comes through our sight and hearing. Lacking these two distinct senses, deaf-blind people find that their mobility, communication, and access to information is usually greatly affected. And here are some of the ways how deaf and blind people can communicate. First of all, the first group are people who might have some hearing left and some vision left as well. They might be using techniques based on American Sign Language, such as signing to a small area, typically on someone's hand. So the deafblind person is putting their hands on top of the singer's hands, or they might be signing into their hands and they might be feeling the signs in their hands. Then there are people who have some vision left. So they might be using techniques based on written language, like tactile alphabet, braille, block printing the alphabet on palm of left hand, CCTV, which stands for closed circuit television. The TV can enlarge and magnify text. They can be also using Dexter, which is a mechanical finger spelling hand. Or they can be using a glove with sensors to convert finger spelling to text on a computer. For those who are truly deaf and blind, they can be using a method called Tadoma or LORM. Tadoma is a method which is tactile reading of lips and throat. You will see it on a picture later. The deaf-blind person feels the lips move and also the throat move, and they combine the movements with the throat vibrations to figure out what the person is saying. Here's how it looks like. So you put your hand on the throat and lips at the same time of the person who's speaking, and you feel the vibrations and the mouth movements. Here's an example of a manual alphabet for people who are deaf and blind. You can find more information on a website, deafblind.com or deafblind.com/card.html. So here's how it looks like. You just put your fingers into the left hand of the person to whom you are communicating. So this is an alphabet. There's also alphabetical norms ABC. You can see both hands here, and you touch the tips of the fingers, or you move your finger through or over their fingers, or across their palm, or in a circle in their palm, and it all stands for different letters. You can also be simply writing capital letters to a palm of the person who is deaf and blind, or they can be writing it back to you. How to teach deafblind people. If they have better vision, you can use large print, braille materials, use enlarged handouts. You can use black and white PowerPoints. You can have a reading machine. You can have a software that magnifies things such as zoom in software. And also you can consider seating and line accommodation. If the person has better hearing, you can have textbooks taped, audio tapes or electronic books. You can have reading machines with voice output, and also you can record your lessons and do oral examinations instead of written ones. There's lots of assistive technologies and services that can help people who are deafblind. They are vibrating and alerting devices such as TAM, a medication reminder, alarm clock, and so on. A lot of them just are based on vibrations, or also super sharp flashes that even a blind person can see. There's a finger spelling robotic arm called Dexter. There's a telephone for deafblind similar to TTY or TDT called Telebraille. They might benefit from having cochlear implants, and they might also have a guide dog with red and white harness, as well as a cane with red and white stripes. That's how you distinguish a blind person from a deaf-blind person. Here's how TAM looks like. TAM is a lightweight sound monitor for profoundly deaf people, similar to watch. It has a very thin wire, which is attached to the watch like a band, and the other end of the wire is connected to a small control box which you have clipped onto your jumper or inside pocket. It gives a clear, firm vibration when a sound is quite near the deafblind person, which is useful for trying to cross a busy road. It also alerts when someone enters the room or when they are trying to communicate with the deafblind person. And here is the Dexter arm. It is a 5-fingered mechanical finger-spanning hand used by the deafblind people. The hand is an output communication device which converts ASCII characters into the finger positions of the one-hand sign language. The deafblind user reads the letters by placing his or her hand over Dexter's hands and feeling the finger motions in the same manner that he or she would read a human interpreter's hand. So you can connect this robotic arm to a computer or to any electronic text, and it finger spells or signs the text for you. What to do when you meet a deafblind person. Here's some advice from a deafblind mother. First of all, always introduce yourself. Even if you have been friends for years, you should still introduce yourself, because the person may not recognize you. Let the person know when you are watching them, or you are talking to someone else. I've had many conversations to the air because it looked like someone was watching me sign, but actually were watching someone 2 seats over. Talk directly to the person, not to whomever they are with. I've had relatives at reunions ask my mother, "How is Tracy doing?" My mother would say, "Ask her yourself, she's standing right here." Don't be afraid to use words like see, look, hear, listen, and so on. Deafblind people use these words too. When giving directions or calling deafblind people, be specific, like the chair is on your left, or I'm on the floor by the couch. My kid had to learn that. Saying over here and over there does not work. If you want to help people around, ask them first and let them take you by the elbow. This is so that they are one step behind you and can feel the direction you are going. Also warn if there are steps or objects in the way. Do not grab the person by the shoulders or arms and steer them ahead of you. The basic rule is ask. Deafblind, deaf, blind, or any other disability are just people like everyone else, just have to do things a bit different. And until next time, leave the lights on and don't rearrange the furniture. So this comes from a blog by a deafblind lady. And at the end, here's a few quotes from deafblind people. As a legally blind mother, I'm constantly wondering what the vacuum just sucked up. Is there anything worse than being blind? Yes, a man with sight and no vision. To be blind is not miserable. Not to be able to bear blindness, that is miserable. Being deafblind is like Alzheimer's. You meet new people all the time, even if you have known them for years. We can do anything we want to do if we stick to it long enough. If you want to find more information on deafblindness, there is a great website called deafblind.com. So look it up, and it's alphabetically ordered. You can find a lot of different information on deafblindness. Here's more resources also on a website called listenup.org. There's some nice pictures of tactile learning strategies for little people, for children who are just trying to experience the world, and tactile way is the only one that works for them. So in order for them to present things such as hygiene and eating, you have to have a lot of tactile learning strategies to use. There's a movie that probably everyone knows. It's called The Miracle Worker, and it's about Helen Keller when she was a little girl, and she had her aide Anne Sullivan, who taught her to speak in sign and who turned her from this wild girl into someone very thoughtful and who was able to finally communicate. It's a beautiful movie to watch. And it shows a lot of what deaf blind people go through, and I really recommend it for you to watch that. You can probably find it on YouTube. So now take a break and enjoy the rest of the resources. There's another PowerPoint to go through on deafness.